This video is supported by Anomaly 23. What if you wanted to be a hero but a medical condition held you back? What if someone offered to cure you and then some? See what happens when 6 teens with disabilities learn the side effects of heroism, human nature, and of course, high school in Anomaly 23 from H1n Comics.
Don't you know that you're a grown up? No games, no puns. Not allowed if you're a grown up.
Hi, welcome back to GenXGrownUp. I'm John. I am a GenXGrownUp. Thanks for checking out this video and the channel. Not long ago, one of the other guys on the crew, George, picked up a really cool handheld mic called the Zoom H1. You can see that video. I'll put a link to it up there if you want. And then, about a month or two ago, our buddy over at YourPlayer2, Josh, he took a look at things you can do to improve kind of your production on YouTube in his video. I'll put a link to that video up here if you want to check out Josh and YourPlayer2. Back when George picked up his Zoom H1, I really didn't get it. I didn't understand why he needed this little handheld mic. And we've got a phone, we've got a nice lav mic, we've got some Blue Yetis if you're doing a larger production. I didn't understand. After hearing what Josh had to say about how a handheld microphone can really improve your flexibility and put it in your go bag for when you're out doing productions on the fly, maybe we do our road trips, I started to think maybe George was onto something. But I didn't want to just get what George got, so I waited until the next version came out. So I picked up this H1n from Zoom. The N, I assume, stands for new or neener. I've got a better mic than George. I don't know. But I did decide to pick it up. I'm going to walk you through what's in the box, the features, give you some sound samples. And I'm going to do this not only as a review of this microphone, but also comparing it to the Zoom H1 to see if it's something you already have, is it worth upgrading, or on its own merits, if you don't have a handheld mic, whether it might be worthwhile to you. So let's take a closer look. Let's look at what differentiates the H1n from the original Zoom H1. Overall, it still feels very similar in the hand. Same kind of like microphones at the end and a nice firm body to hold on to here. But I love that they've moved all the controls to the front of the device. So rather than the sides littered with controls, the main record option, also stop, play, next, previous is all there. And tons of context sensitive buttons at the top here we'll look at in a minute. The sides have been dramatically simplified. Here we've got a headphone line out and a volume control. And this side, of course, we have the line in, which is great. Memory card slot. We have a power, a lock, and a delete button here, and then the USB connection, which allows you to get data off of it, but also allows the device to serve as a USB microphone plugged into your PC, which is a really nice add. The back sports a battery case, and then we have a standard camera mounting bracket that allows you to mount this right on top of a regular shoe for any camera equipment. Let's power it on and look and see what's different than about operation. Really nice high contrast screen that's backlit, and there's a lot more information on the screen than there was in the H1. So this isn't a touch screen, but the buttons right below it allow me to access all the functions that are here. So first off, I can set the audio record bit rate. You see I'm doing a wave here that gives me 50 hours at 44.1K at 16-bit. And I can cycle through these 48K, 96K, MP3 48K, over 1,000 hours on this 32 gig card, which I think are probably more than I need in a single recording. I expect that's going to outlast the batteries in this. Also across here we have a low cut. I have a limiter. Now, I tend to not like audio limiters, but that would prevent you from spiking if you have very large dynamic range and you're worried about spiking with the level. And then you have auto level. If you turn that off, it's going to set the level automatically based on what it's hearing. Again, I probably wouldn't use that. I like to set my own levels. But on that topic, look what's right up here. A thumb wheel right on the device that allows me to set the gain for incoming levels. Right now I'm up by a 9. If I turn that way down, of course, you'll see that it's barely picking me up. That's new to the H1n. I think that's really cool. You also have this option button. So when I'm not recording, that toggles and gives me more functions. So by hitting that button, these all have a separate context. I have auto record here, pre-record, self-timer, and the sound mark. All those I can do as well. Now, these are things that I think were largely on the H1, but access to them right here on the face of the device, I think is a really nice plus. Just like the H1, we also have a microphone built right in, and we can do a quick sample of that. Let's see, I'm gonna just go ahead and testing me, 10987 654 321.
Testing me, 10987 654 321.
Yep, so it's not a great sounding microphone, but just to have confidence and make sure that you did actually record something. I also want to point out how they've really added this cage around the microphones at the top. I think this is a nice design. I have heard people say that they had trouble with the old cage breaking. It was also kind of open. Here they've added kind of this little lattice work on the top to kind of shield the microphones. You still have open access to the mic from the external, but this cage kind of protects it a little more. Less prone to breaking is what I've read. So I've shown you what you get in the box and some of the key features of the H1n, but a microphone is no good if it doesn't sound great. So let's do some audio recording samples using the H1n. Now I'll compare that. This is just a nice lav mic I have plugged right into my camera. I have the H1n recording at its highest quality. So what we're going to do is we're going to record some samples, compare them to this lav mic that you're hearing right now that tends to be tuned and adjusted. And when I play back what we record on the H1n, it's going to be completely unadjusted, unfiltered, no noise reduction, nothing like that. And we're going to see how it sounds so you can make your best judgment as to whether it's right for you. As to what to say, I will use the same spiel that I use every time I'm pitching GenXGrownUp as a YouTube channel or a podcast or website to anyone, because I've got that in my head really easy and I can do it over and over. And also it's something I'll say the same multiple times as we change the settings on the H1n. All right, test number 1 with none of the options on. GenXGrownUp is a podcast, website, and YouTube channel that explores media, games, tech, toys, and pop culture of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up. All right, fair enough. All right, now I've turned on the low cut to 80 hertz. GenXGrownUp is a podcast, website, and YouTube channel that explores media, games, tech, toys, and pop culture of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up. I'm going to bump the low cut up to 120 hertz now. GenXGrownUp is a podcast, website, and YouTube channel that explores media, games, tech, toys, and pop culture of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up. Bump that low cut up to its max of 160 hertz. One more sample. GenXGrownUp is a podcast, website, and YouTube channel that explores media, games, tech, toys, and pop culture of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up. All right, the low cut is off. Next, I'm going to turn the limiter on. I've been doing this without the limiter. I'm always worried about limiters because often what I find is that they clip the top of loud sounds. That doesn't sound as natural or as dynamic, but we're going to turn it on. GenXGrownUp is a podcast, website, and YouTube channel that explores media, games, tech, toys, and pop culture of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up. And finally, we have the auto level, which is supposed to override the dial here, which is set to 6.5. So we'll turn the auto level on. GenXGrownUp is a podcast, website, and YouTube channel that explores media, games, tech, toys, and pop culture of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up. Now I can change the quality of the recording, but why the hell would I? With the card I have in right now, I can record 15 hours at the highest quality. So I really don't see any value in checking the lower qualities. I mean, why would I ever record anything with the highest with that much space on here? I hope you find this to be a fairly thorough look at the Zoom H1n. And what do I think of it? Listen, I'm going to give this guy 4.5 tokens all day long. The audio quality on it's phenomenal. The portability is great. Everything in the Zoom H1 was amped up and made better in the H1n, and I'm glad that I sprung for it. Now, I have a bonus for you though. I didn't just buy the Zoom H1n, I also bought the Zoom H1n accessory pack. You didn't expect to get a review for that here, but I did get this because I'm a sucker. Amazon says, hey, people that bought this tend to buy this with it. I'm like, you know, a million people can't be wrong. So let me show you what's in this box and see if this might be worth your while if you choose to go down the path of the H1n. First and foremost, you get a really nice case. That's the important thing. However, this case is only big enough to hold the microphone. This accessory pack has lots of stuff, and the microphone, of course, will fit inside, but none of the other stuff that comes in this kit will fit in there. This is probably the most worthwhile thing that came in the kit. I'll show you what I mean. Next thing I got was this great kind of Bob Ross Afro wind guard. Yeah, it makes the thing look kind of dopey. So it's a windscreen and it looks kind of goofy, but it comes in the kit. Again, it would never fit inside of the case with that on there, so there's that to concern with. You get this table leg, which is designed to make a little gun handle out of the H1n. I think that's kind of unnecessary and silly, but okay. It also came with this really kind of flimsy aluminum tripod, which is not as good as any of the other mini tripods that I have. Just seems kind of, I don't know, kind of rickety and unnecessary. And finally, this kit comes with, a micro USB cable, and wait, a wall adapter? Yeah, so I mean, who doesn't have 1,000 of these laying around? This is really not the kind of stuff I'm needing to kind of extend the functionality of this new microphone I got. The case is nice. It's a good place to put your nice H1n, If I could order just the case, that'd be worthwhile. The rest of the stuff in the kit, nah, not really. Yeah, I mean, for the accessory pack, we're talking, what, 1.5, 2 tokens max? I'll give you 2 tokens for this accessory pack. It's nice to have a couple of those things in there, but by and large, I would rather just get the pieces I want and save money and not have all this extra junk. Now, finally, I want to talk about, if you already have the Zoom H1, is the H1n worth your time and money? I don't think so. I think both microphones are incredibly capable, and there's no reason, if your H1 is working well, to upgrade to the H1n as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you have a different handheld mic or don't have one, buying the H1, no way. Go with the H1n. Everything about it is a little bit better, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I certainly am not. Hey, thanks for watching. I sure appreciate it, and I will see you next time.
Don't you know that you're a grown up?
Subscribe to Gen X Grown Up by clicking right here and enable notifications so you won't miss a thing. Use the comments down below to tell us what you think, and while you're there, a thumbs up would be great too. Please share this online wherever you hang out. Connect with GXG on social networks by clicking right here.
Basically, life sucks.